Now, if you have needles, fabric, thread, and you have no idea what to do with them, we have a domestic goddess here to help you.
This is my friend Julie, and she's going to teach us how to cross stitch.
Yeah, cross stitch is wonderful. I've been doing cross stitch since I was in college, and I just have a great time with it. And I thought I'd show, just if you're just a beginner and you don't know
I'm a beginner, so
exactly what to do.
Here.
Most cross stitch patterns, they call for using 2 strands of floss. Now, if you ever look at floss, it comes in 6 strands. So what you want to do is cut it, pretty long, longer than you would want to stitch with. Pull 1 strand out, just zip, it zips right out. It's really easy. And then what you do, now,
so you don't use
here,
the whole thing. That's
you don't use
totally
the whole
news
thing.
To me.
This is not cross-stitch floss. I brought the bigger stuff because I thought it would be easier to see. This is actually crewel yarn. But what you do is you double it over. See, so you have a little loop at the end. You double it over, you thread your needle, like so.
You're thinking TV. This is very clever. You brought
trying,
bigger props so that we could see them.
Well, I've demonstrated this before to big crowds, so. Okay, and then what you do is you're going to come up where you want your stitch to be. You go down diagonally to make the first part of the X. Can you see all right? Okay.
Yeah, that's great.
All right. Now flip it over. And you see how you've got your loop here? Go through the loop. Pull it like that. Snug it up. And you've got a thread started with no knot.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Makes the back nice and flat. A friend of mine taught me how to do this when I was in college, and I hope she's watching today. I emailed her.
Because I hate the back of cross stitches because they're such a mess.
Well, and a knot, you know, when you frame it, a knot will show. It'll stick up, and it looks terrible. So, and then you just go ahead and finish your stitch. Bravo. There you go, and keep going from there.
Wow.
It's that easy.
So did you get that? You loop it, and then you put it through, and then you put it through the loop.
Right, you put it through the loop, snug it up. They call it the loop method.
I'm kind of slow, so I have to clarify for myself.
It's called the loop method. Now, a way to keep your stitches nice and flat, because you want to cover the fabric as best you can, so you want them to be nice and flat. So you'll come up and do the first half of your stitch, like that. And then when you do the second half of your stitch, this is kind of an advanced thing. You see how you have the 2 strands? Stick your needle between the 2 strands, and then go down like that. And it separates them so that they lie flatter. You see how this one's a little flatter than that one? It's called railroading because it's like 2 railroad tracks sitting next to each other.
So we have beginning stuff and advanced stuff here. This is something for everyone.
Here
Good.
I am. I've done a ton of cross stitches and no one's ever showed me how to do it.
Isn't that fun? My mother-in-law and I go to we go to cross stitch conventions a lot, and so I learn all of these little tips. It's really fun.
That's great. Cross-stitch convention.
Now,
that's awesome.
They do.
Now, if I wanted to start, I can just go buy a kit, right?
You could go buy a kit. A kit is wonderful. It has needles, it has fabric, it has floss, it has instructions, it has really basic instructions like how to make an X.
It has your phone number so I can call you. Make sure I do it.
I'll warn you right now, do something small.
Okay.
Okay? When I was a beginner, I started with things like this. This took me 7 years to finish. And I actually did this for my husband for Christmas because he loves my stitching so much. He has this in his office at work.
That's beautiful. It's a work of art. It looks like a painting.
But 7 years it took to do that. It really did.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, the artist is named Marty Bell. That's actually Miss Anne Hathaway's cottage in Stratford.
Oh, neat.
That's wonderful.
Start with something really small. My daughter did this when she was 7 years old. It's large fabric, and she used all 6 strands of floss, so she didn't have to, in a big needle, you know. And what I did was I took the pattern and I put little dots on the fabric where the stitches went so that she could follow it, because a 7-year-old's not going to be able to look at a paper and transfer it to fabric.
That's a great idea.
And she did that all by herself. That's on her wall.
And you need to talk about this.
This one, I actually designed myself. I went out and I took a picture of Rock Creek Canyon over by Provo. You know, because you can see it right from my house. And I just kind of put it into a computer program, and the computer program will transfer it into a design. But you have to tweak it, because what the computer program does is make it look really busy.
Okay.
So I cut it down to about half the colors of floss that the program asked me to use and stitched it up.
Now, what kind of program?
The one I use is called PC Stitch, and it's actually made for that. And you can also do your own drawings and things like that just on the computer.
So yes, she does the beginning stuff for us, but she designs her own creations. That's just amazing to me.
Can you also do people on PC Stitch? That's neat.
You can, any photo, any picture, anything.
Now, what about these cross-stitch conventions? Do you have any?
You know, I don't know if they're even still doing them. Cross-stitch has kind of gone out in the last few years. You know, the cross-stitch stores are closing, and it's hard to find stuff. But there was the one that I went to was called the Creative Arts and Textiles Show. And they have wonderful classes, not only in cross-stitch, but in hardanger embroidery, crewel embroidery, all kinds of handwork, beading, all kinds of things. The last time we went to the Opryland Hotel in Nashville.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, we stayed there a week.
Sounds like
so fun.
It's a cross-stitch party.
It really is. They have a room where you stay up all night and stitch with people and talk to each other. And stitchers have great times. We let our hair down and just party. We have a great time.
Now, how did you get into this? I mean,
I just started it when I was in high school. I had a friend who cross-stitched, and she kind of got me involved in it. I actually did my first embroidery when I was 7. Because my mother taught me, you know, but it was a stamped embroidery. You know how everyone starts on the stamped cross-stitch?
Yeah.
I still have it. It's hanging in my office at home, but it's...
Are you going to show us something here?
Sure.
We're almost out of time, so I want to make sure.
You can do things for your home. You know, you think of cross-stitch as just being something you frame and put on the wall. This is a dish towel, and I just worked it up last week. In fact, I finished it while I was watching the show last week.
Wow, that's too pretty to use as a dish towel.
See, everybody says that. I give people presents and they're like, oh, I could never use that. Use it. That's what it's for.
You're supposed to.
I'm going to take it home and hang it on my stove. There it is, you know. It's great. So that's, you know, you can do baby bibs, Afghans, everything.
Well, thank you, Julie.
Yes,
Thank you.